Hi there, Leo. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for February. The month begins with the sun in the part of your scope that's to do with relating, and you may find yourself wanting to reach out and connect with certain individuals in a better way this month, and certainly from the 11th to the 18th, when the sun forges an awesome link to Mars, you can find yourself particularly assertive and go-getting. This can be in a competitive situation, or if you do want to let someone know how you feel. However, Mercury does move on the first day of this month into the deep and psychological 8th house of your situation, and by the 6th starts to twist backwards in a retrograde. Now, you probably know that when Mercury twists backwards like this, it can cause some complications, and not necessarily ones we intend. So for you, I certainly feel to the middle of the month, you need to be especially careful about how you manage and marshal your long-term finances. Because Mercury is going to be combining with Neptune, the planet of dreams, but also of illusion. And if you're trying to refinance a situation, pay off debt, or get some clear and insightful advice on any big financial issue, you may get some very contradictory information, or people may be sloppy about getting it back to you on time, which could leave you feeling very frustrated. There is also some potent links this month going across the heavens between Jupiter and Venus and also Pluto, and in the middle is Uranus. Now, Uranus is a very random influence. This is the planet of change, and for the last 3 years it's been pushing you to go outside your comfort zone and to be much more experimental in your approach to life. And for a fixed zodiac sign like you, who likes a certain amount of routine, that's not always easy. And when you haven't been able to tap into this, you haven't been able to have that change and that stimulation, obligations and limitations may have left you feeling really quite exasperated and even quite stressed out at times. And there can be some of that this month, particularly if you feel that other people on the face of it are being very pleasant, but in some way or another are pulling at your heartstrings to get you to do what they want rather than what you really want to do for yourself. And I don't mean in a purely selfish way. It's possible, therefore, that some kind of subtle power battle can go on between your need to escape a bit and be a free individual and another part of you which realises that you have to do your bit and conform and fulfil your responsibilities, but not to the point where you actually feel obliged and almost resentful about it. So there can be quite a lot of energy washing around this month, and you need to be conscious of it in terms of these kind of things. Because with Jupiter clashing with Uranus all month, the depth of the way this goes on could be really quite psychological, and therefore someone may not be easy to read. They may be quite clever and artful in terms of just manipulating situations to suit themselves. Now, from the middle of the month, Mercury does actually start to twist backwards into Aquarius. So it's still treading backwards, and it's going to do so for the last half of the month. And therefore, there may be times when it's your relationships or a personal one where you and yours get the wrong end of one another's stick. But I actually think that Mercury retrograde can be really positive. I might be one of the astrologers who's quite rare in this regard, because I think it can be an opportunity to mend things. So if there is something that does go a bit skew with and confused at the start of the month, the opportunity to repair it at the end of the month can be very strong. However, there's no denying there is a full moon in the middle of the month, suggesting that your communications, certainly in a relationship situation, if they're not working to your satisfaction, you may decide to press the button named escape. This is only going to happen if you really feel a tie has run its course, and this would be quite extreme. In another context, it may be that you just want to say how you feel, but you need to choose your words carefully. And then from the 19th, the sun moves into Pisces itself, kind of replacing Mercury, if you like, and once more that whole issue of resources comes back under the astral microscope, and it too goes alongside Neptune, and that potential for confusion is there. So if you're thinking about buying something that's very expensive or doing something on the financial front in terms of getting advice and it's to do with mortgages or anything that's got long-term implications in terms of your responsibilities, I would proceed with care. And it's going to be by the time of the new moon, at the very end of this month, when everything starts to come much clearer for you and you can make some decisive decisions and feel much more purposeful, and that you're going forwards again right across your situation. Thank you for joining me for what is a complex month. Good luck and goodbye for now.